Asian. It's Asian. Yeah, so it's Filipino. Well, actually, it's Asian.
Like a
I didn't
his thing?
AY as well. I thought it was Asian for my friend. And then my mom was saying, it's actually Asian. Like later, because it's from my dad. Yeah, so.
But it's like emphasized still.
No, that's how it's spelled. How it's spelled. AY is spelled.
Probably should. If I'm like, kick people.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just think. Okay.
Oh, it's so weird to see this. Can we cover this guy?
Are we starting?
I think Marisol said that they were Marisol was going to introduce you, and then I was going to do that, like, quick little talk, introduce you.
Sure.
I wrote all my questions down here. Can it be organized?
You have good eye. You have really good eyesight. I feel what's up? I have bad lace, so I'm just blind. Wait till you see like how big the font is on my phone. Everyone laughs at me.
No?
Then take that one off.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess it
Okay.
So far, like, the chance to like, I'm a short person, so like, I'm like,
You look great. You look great.
but I'm like, I want to be like,
You're taller than I am.
am I?
Yes. When I went to hug you, I was just like, oh, it's okay. I'm gonna be short.
It's yours? Okay, no, mine's just like,
You know, I really made sure that like Dongchen was shorter than the emperor. Like, he's always like, so I think it's important to have like short representation.
That's true. That's true. That is very true. I like that. They need. We're not going to go into the specific, but they need a pillow.
They don't hear us yet.
Sorry,
I mean,
they can hear us. We're live.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
we've got people wanting to join us.
Is anyone joining?
Oh, yeah. They want to join the live.
Oh, they're requesting.
Yeah, they're requesting for it.
Hey, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Can't do that.
After party.
After party. After party. Oh, should we start?
I'll do that every once in
Yeah.
a while. I think there's just a few.
Stragglers? That's okay. That's all right.
Give it a few.
There's
Yeah,
a really
that's fine.
lit charcuterie board, so people are at it.
We're just waiting for some more people to come into the room. I don't know why I talk like that.
We're wearing hair wine.
People.
They're librarian.
Exit through on your right.
That is a potential career that I'm thinking of. Me?
I love librarians.
Yeah.
Like my best friend in high school was a librarian. Was the high school librarian.
Sweet.
Because I was like a nerd.
Yeah.
Just, like,
So
state
you were
librarian. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
I really liked her. She was cool. Mrs. Magellan. She was great.
Okay. It's this is my spot. It's only because we can see ourselves in the laptop.
Just look at my eyes.
Oh, I just can't flip it, but I realized the camera's on that side.
Everyone's saying hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hey, so excited. Hi. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. Thanks for Hive. Wait, is the Hive you guys?
Yeah.
We haven't launched yet, but it's a soft one.
There's that. It's coming next week. I'm very excited.
So you have Maxine and Abby, Michaela Wright, Ashley Reading Room, Raylan. Rachel asks hello.
Thanks for coming, y'all.
Oh.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. No. We're glad you're here.
The traffic was insane.
Yeah,
Toronto,
Athlete Street.
Toronto has impressive traffic.
Yeah.
I'm from LA.
Like,
Like,
worse than LA?
to say that, like, I was like, whoa.
Impressive as in like it moves?
What's up?
Impressive that it's
No, it's there's a lot of traffic.
There's a
I didn't realize.
there's a lot of construction.
Yes,
That's what it is.
the middle of Adelaide is under construction.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, we have two seasons, construction and winter.
It is. I do not disagree.
Really?
Toronto?
Wow.
That's a lot. Okay. It's okay. I just give it a
What's up?
So
Hi.
I'm gonna do a little intro.
nice.
We're fancy.
We're spoiled.
Spoiled with the
We
ice.
are all spoiled. Okay, all right, well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us all. Hello, Frenzy influencers, HCC influencers, a little bit more of the same. I believe that most of you know me by now. I hope you do, but if you need a little refresher, my name is Marisol. I work in the marketing department of HarperCollins Canada as the marketing coordinator and as one of the faces of Team Frenzy. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and we are so excited about tonight's event, hosted in partnership with our friends at HTP Books. Though some of us are connected virtually, we would like to acknowledge that our meeting is hosted on Indigenous land and Dish with One Spoon territory. This is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. HarperCollins Canada gratefully acknowledges these Indigenous nations for their guardianship of this land. And this evening, you will be hearing from Johnny and the very talented Justinian Huang, who have joined us to chat about his brand new book, The Emperor and the Endless Palace. I'm sorry.
Ghostwriter.
About his brand new book, The Emperor and the Endless Palace, which is hitting shelves on March 26th. Following this discussion, there will be a book signing for our in-person guests. And if you haven't had a chance to peek inside your swag bags yet, you should each have a copy of the book. And as always, we encourage you to share your experience and thoughts about this event on social media with hashtag FrenzyPresents. And be sure to tag us on Twitter or X, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok at Frenzy Books. And of course, if you like this and are interested in attending more events with us or virtual events, please visit harperpresents.ca. And now to introduce our lovely moderator and host, Johnny is an Australian import, recently turned Canadian, and he loves creating content on TikTok for the book talk community. He currently works as a social media manager at a nonprofit, and 90% of the time, you'll most likely find him reading something queer. You can find him on TikTok and most social media accounts at his handle, JohnnyPixels7.
Hi everyone. This is a full room, and we have other people in a virtual room, 2 virtual rooms right now. So just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. It's very exciting to be here. We have a lovely person that I'm going to introduce in just a second. Just want to say quickly, for me, as a content creator, I'd like to talk about queer books and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I feel like an imposter, just because I don't read as many books as some people in the book community, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay with whatever number you read, and the most important thing is if you love reading, then you're part of the community. Yeah. So I'm going to, even though you don't need any introductions to Justinian, we have Justinian Huang. Is it Huang or Huang?
Both.
Both, okay.
I go both ways, John.
Oh! I tried to do some research. I did hear you say the name on one of the
I was raised in the West. I was born in LA, and growing up, I said,
yeah.
Thank you. Growing up, I said Huang. I was just like raised that way. The correct way to pronounce it is Huang.
Huang, okay.
Huang, which means yellow, which I love.
Oh.
Yes. I'm repping.
That's fantastic.
Always, yes.
Nice. So, as we just Huang, all the way from Los Angeles, which is great. And if you're not following him on social media, which you should, and if you haven't yet and you're about to, one, get a glass of water because he has a lot of thirst traps.
I do that to piss off my mom. And I've been doing that for 20 years.
That's good marketing. Second, he has the cutest dog named Swagger, from who I believe you adopted when you were in China.
I lived in China for 5 years, and he was a rescue dog. He was found on the streets of Shanghai, and now he is an influencer in LA. my dad always says that he must have done something very blessed in another life, right? Yes, because he's come up a lot.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to give you spoilers, but is Swagger maybe a spirit animal? Maybe?
I mean, like, he has, I don't know, like, he has these eyes that you stare into them. I'm always home by myself with my dog, so don't let me get started with this, but he has the most soulful eyes. I'm just obsessed with him, and I miss him right now.
Aww.
I know. I don't sleep well without him, like, by my side, so I haven't been sleeping that well, but it's okay, Swaggy. Daddy's coming home soon.
He's just watching, like,
I know.
watching on TikTok. Well, okay, so that's anyone. Anyway, just for a proper one, I just want everyone to give an applause to Justinian for being here. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, well, let's I think what we're thinking of tonight is obviously we'll have some conversation with Justinian. We'll have some Q&A with the audience. Maybe if there's questions on TikTok, from hi mom, probably the only person watching. And I have a little game that might be fun to play depending on timing, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I also was going to say if anyone has I want to have audience Q&A at the very end, but if there's something that's really pressing, or something that's really interesting that you think I need to ask right now, feel free to put your hand up, and I'll let's make this a conversation. Let's
Guerrilla questions.
Yeah,
All
just,
right.
and make sure that it's PG. I don't want to be bad on TikTok because it's on TikTok live. So yeah,
What you do is too important. We're not gonna do it.
yeah, I have to say steamy instead of the chili pepper one.
Okay.
Okay, well, without further ado, I'm going to ask some questions to Justinian. If that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. First of all, it's the first time in Toronto, right?
Yes. I think I was here as a kid. I think I did the Niagara Falls thing, but it is my first time as a real human.
So you did
Yes.
you think, or you did?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay.
Not sure,
Could
but
be a fever dream.
could be, yes, like many things in my life. for sure. But I'm really loving it. Everyone's like, oh, I'm sorry it's so gray. And I'm like, I'm from LA. I see bright, sunny, blue skies all the time. I love the mood.
You're making us jealous right
No,
now.
I was actually on the beach 2 days ago getting a tan. But
Gosh.
but I no, don't turn on me yet. But I love moody skies, and I love rain. There's a lot of that in this book,
Yeah.
I love the vibe, so
Okay.
I'm okay with this. I'm liking it.
Well, we're glad that you like it, and I'm very happy to say that.
And I just had poutine for the first time. Yes, and smokes. Yes. Give us money. I'm just kidding. It was so good. Oh my gosh! So I'm gonna go back tomorrow, and I'm gonna get the Montreal smoked meat on top. Just so Canadian. Yeah, I didn't know whether to eat it or rub it on my body. That's how good it was. It was
Nice.
so good. And I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh,
Yeah, so I took a lot of lactate. So we're good.
you're prepared.
So Asian.
That's the worst. There's a lot of Asian food that.
Yeah, I was in Korea earlier this year, and they put cheese on everything.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know how they don't have how they have the gene, and I don't. Very jealous.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you like Toronto. I'm glad that.
I'm loving it.
Nice.
Yes, I want to come back in the summer.
Excellent. Yeah.
As I look at my editor.
Another tour. Awesome. Okay, so let's get onto the book. I had the opportunity to read it.
What did you think of it,
Oh my
Johnny?
god, it was so good! And I'm not just saying that in that way because I actually really loved it.
I'm so glad.
For
It's
all of
really
you
awkward.
It would be really awkward if I did not like it. But I loved it, and I'm not just saying that because you're literally next to me. But for anyone who loves romantasy, this is literally the thing that you should have on your to read list, ASAP when it comes out. Absolutely.
How did it make you feel?
Oh my god! The way I describe it is just that every emoji under the sun. Seriously, I was happy, sad. I was gasping. Lindsay was with me at one point when I was reading it, and she was laughing because I just kept going, oh my god! What? There's some really intense scenes in many different ways, and then And I've heard that this has been described like Song of Achilles in a sense. I wouldn't say it was like that, but it did break me. I was broken into millions of pieces, so be careful.
Yeah, I hear the ending's kind of controversial. I can't wait to hear what more people think of it.
See, the thing is, I loved it because it broke me. So, you know, if you love a good cry, if you love something that's, yeah, yes, I hear that, yeah. You're gonna love this. Yeah.
I wrote it in lockdown, in the summer of 2020. And I had just come home. I used to work in Shanghai for DreamWorks. We developed Kung Fu Panda 3, Abominable, Over the Moon, which is like I was from day one working on Over the Moon, which I love that movie so much. And then when the pandemic happened, and I was literally spat out of my life in China, I came back home. And then the lockdown happened in America, and I was in my mom's attic, just staring at the blue sky. It felt great. I was in her attic, and and I tried to do a hobby. My sourdough was terrible, and then I was thinking when I was up in the attic, even though I had this really great career. The thing I thought the most were like the 3 boys I fell in love with at different times during my time in China, and just like I was going through a lot, and like being a queer Asian person, you grow up and you wonder whether you deserve to love and to be loved. And it was me processing a lot of things, and though I think this book really came out of me sort of. Figuring out what the last 5 years of my life meant, because it was just gone like that.
So it's therapeutic in a sense.
It was very healing. Yeah.
Nice.
Very, very healing. We'll get into it more.
I can identify with that. And you've actually answered one of my questions.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead.
No, please. This is fantastic. It's meant to be natural. But I do want to say, just for those who don't know, who haven't read, I'm sure you all know, but let's say we're in an elevator right now.
Okay.
This is your elevator pitch.
How many floors?
You've only got 2 floors. That's why you only have a few short sentences to describe what your book is.
Okay, so The Emperor and the Endless Palace is a romantasy thriller that spans 2,000 years, from ancient China to modern day LA, and is about 2 men who keep reincarnating over and over again as doomed lovers. And it's inspired by real Chinese history, which is that in 4 BCE, at the dawning of the Common Era, there was a Chinese emperor he was very young. He fell in love with one of the men in his court, and he proceeded to hand his entire kingdom to this boy. So much so that when they both died young and mysteriously, the first Han dynasty fell with them. So this is a history that none of us know and we should know. And I take these 2 boys and I reincarnate them over and over again. And
give them sad endings.
Give them what?
Sad endings.
I don't think the ending is sad. So that's why I'm so fascinated to hear the reactions to it. But we can dig in more.
Of
yes,
course.
for
That's
sure.
what we're here for. Awesome. Okay, let's get into question number 3 in my little thing. Okay, actually, this is an interesting one. I've been curious about this. What prompted you to want to write a historical fantasy as your first debut novel?
So when I first came out, I came out to the world at 18, but I came out to my family at 21, which is such a thing, right? You come out to everybody except the people that you're closest to, which is it's very weird to live a double life.
You're worried about judgment.
Yeah, exactly. And I was raised very Christian, and I was also raised very Taiwanese, and so it was just like a convergence of 2 cultures in which I thought that I wouldn't be accepted in. So when I came out, I was told quite quickly that oh, you can't be gay. Chinese people aren't gay. That's not a thing. That's like a Western thing. So when I heard about this emperor and about his love story with this young man, Dong Shen, I was just captivated by this story because it proved to me that queerness is an essential part of Chinese history, of Asian history. And what's more is that, we called our emperor son of heaven. So
queer Asian folks, we're descended from living gods, and that's like a magical birthright we should celebrate. So that's why I wanted to write this book, because I want young queer kids of obviously you can find these stories in every culture. I want them to see that they're descended from living gods, you know? I don't want them to ever go through what I went through, basically.
I love that. I love that because when you read the book, there's a lot of things that I didn't know about like ancient China and
Right.
kind of history and
Right.
learning about that.
Every character,
Yeah.
and so there's 3 timelines, right? The palace intrigue timeline, which is what I call it, the original timeline, every character is real. And the stories are real. I just sort of I remix them a little bit, but they're all fabulous. Like the villains in the palace intrigue timeline, the emperor's grandmother, the grandmother's eunuch. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
There is a scene in the middle of this book.
That's the
We
part.
cannot talk about it.
That's the part where I was
Yeah,
gasping.
the costume.
I was gasping inside. I was like, wow.
Yes, ow is a good way to describe that.
That's all I'm gonna say. Wow.
Very much so.
Yeah.
What page was that?
It's like in the mathematical center.
It is pretty much in the center.
I'm obsessed with you already. Oh my gosh. Did I answer the question?
I think you did. I can't even remember the question.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's so good. I was gonna say, can you just write a little bit of
Writing process.
what the writing process looks like for you?
It's just.
Is it droll?
No, it's like
Okay.
there's parts of this book that I don't remember writing. You know, just like huge chunks of it. I'm sure there's writers here, and I'm sure they can relate. And because I had a day job, you know, I just stepped down as VP of development at Sony, Sony Animation. So I had a day job, and I would work, and I would go home and I would write, right, and I would be up till like 4 a.m. and I did that for months and months and months, right. So I would describe it as a fever dream.
Okay.
And it's weird. Like you think about, there's 80,000 words in this book, and every word I wrote, I don't remember a lot of it, and I don't know why that is.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Were you writing at 3 a.m.?
I have to go see a doctor. And you know, and I don't turn down a glass of wine when I write sometimes. You know, like a little liquid courage.
It's healthy inspiration.
Yes.
Healthy?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's right. Okay. Nice. Okay, cool. Anyone want to add on that? No? Writing processes? No. All right.
Afterwards, please tell me your writing process, because now I'm a full-time writer and I really would love to find structure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So would you classify yourself as a pantser or a planner?
What's the first one?
Yeah.
Pantser. So pantser is fly by the seat of your pants. It just
Oh.
comes out versus planner. Some authors have
Right.
told us that they have like sticky note walls. It's like
That's
a
right.
crime scene.
Okay.
I want to.
Every-
Did you?
So I had a vague idea of what needed to happen. And then they start to collide. They literally crash into each other at the end of the book. So it had to have structure, but when it comes to my favorite parts of the book, it's like I didn't expect the book to go that way. You know, my hero is Jackie Collins, and I grew up reading Jackie Collins. Yes, she's just like, and then she's like now really popular, but I liked her first. She's found like a resurgence among like young folks, right? Which is so great. But I used to steal all her books from my aunts, and she in her interview she says I don't plan anything. I just like I create characters I'm obsessed with, and I let them lead the story. And that's the majority of how I write. Yeah.
I think I just want to comment on that. Obviously there was structure because when I read it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Usually when you get the multiple POV type books and you're like, oh, I don't like this character. I can't wait for the next one. Every time you finish a section in this book, you're like, oh my god, but I'm now to the next bit. Oh, but I remember this part of this. Like you get really excited for every timeline you're about to read.
I discovered that I can't expect my reader to remember what happened 2 chapters ago unless I end on an intense cliffhanger.
Yes,
which is
yes,
why
that's what he did.
yes, which is why the book is just like a twisty, turny roller coaster. It does start kind of not, I don't want to say slow, but it first sets the tone and the aura and the vibe. But then around page 50, hold on, you know?
I think it started pretty
You think so?
fast.
That's
It was
great.
just- It starts off with a lot of steam, I think. There's a steam.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, don't read this in front of your parents at the beginning.
My mom is not able to get past chapter 1.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, and that's like one of the more innocent scenes too.
Have they read your book?
So
There's a lot of scenes.
yeah, you know, the book is spicy. My dad lives with me a few months out here, and he read the book loudly and proudly in my living room. Like, but then whenever he got to a steamier scene, his voice got really quiet. And I'd be like, Dad, please skip the next couple pages. I don't want to hear you read this. Yeah, but like a shout out to my dad. When I came out, like people have this idea of Asian dads being like very patriarchal and well. When I came out, my dad told me, "I love you just the way you are, and you know, like, it doesn't matter who you love. Most more than I love you, you know." Like, so my dad's the best. My mom, even though one of my favorite characters, Garden, is based on my mom, I don't want her to read this book. I'm like a mama's boy. I don't want her to change the way she thinks about me, you know. So yeah. That's the only person on earth I don't want to read this book. My aunts read the book and they loved it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, let's go over some of the overall themes that are present in the book.
Sure.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to state a theme. You can respond in any way you want. It can be short, long, however you want. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to state some themes and then you tell us what you think. Okay. Well, you kind of already did with this one. Asian folklore and history.
I do have more thoughts about that. So I think I come from the movie world, right? I've been where I started. My first gig was with Linda Obst, who is a legend in the movie industry. Like, she did How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Sleepless in Seattle, Interstellar. Like, so this was the woman who taught me how to tell stories. So hi, Linda.
She's there.
She's like my second mom. I love her. But you know, like I have like being a child of the film industry, I have a lot of thoughts about the way that they treat people of color and diversity and queer folks, which is that they often just plop us into pre-existing stories. And what I wanted to show with this book was that we folks of color, we queer folks, we have our own stories that are way more interesting
Yeah.
and way more fascinating. You know, the middle timeline of this book is actually a reimagining of a classic gay Chinese folktale in which an innkeeper is visited by a fox spirit. And fox spirits, for those of you who know, are usually women.
Yeah.
But this fox spirit is a boy. And like, so this is also a retelling. So it's me taking Chinese history and Asian folklore and remixing in a way that's showing that we don't need to be put into, I mean, it's like, I don't want, like, I'm very proud of like how well, like, those successes have been where you take actors and people of color and put them into these stories. We have our own stories and we should be highlighting those too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. We're not side characters like.
Yes, exactly. We're the protagonists of our own rich cultures, you know? Yeah.
Awesome. The political intrigue as a thing.
I mean, I like the best parts of Game of Thrones where we're like Lady Olenna being just like,
Oh my god.
I don't really like to watch war, you know, like actually no,
You do.
no, just when the hot guy in season 1 who kidnaps the Queen of the Dragon. That's when I was watching the war stuff. Otherwise, I was like, this is boring. I just wanted the political intrigue because, like, if you think about like. I just feel like, because first of all, I grew up watching Chinese palace dramas with my grandma, and it's those palace dramas are all about the brilliance of women, and because of like censorship, wherever, gay boys weren't allowed to be part of that. And it's so much fun for me to like have these gay boys in this palace drama, but still like the most powerful character is the emperor's grandmother. And I love that. I think that political intrigue is so much fun to write, so much fun to read. And, it was like I actually wrote that that timeline first and stacked the other two stories around it. But yeah, it's my favorite. I just love politics, you know?
Empress how do you pronounce it?
I'm sorry?
How do you pronounce
Oh, Dowager, yes.
Thank you.
The Grand Empress Dowager Fu was a real person who just puppeteered her grandson.
She's terrifying.
She's fun, yeah.
That's fun. Yes.
Terrifying.
Terrifying,
equals
but
fun in my
exactly.
book, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And there's actually a lot written about her in Chinese history, which is so cool. And I did not change a lot about her. Like there's backstory that is just me reimagining it a little bit, but she was fascinating. I thank her at the back of the book for like living such a fascinating life that she's just such a delicious villain. You know?
Oh yeah.
She's badass. I love her.
She's the reason why I say ow.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The theme of past lives.
So when I was living in Asia, when I was in China, I had some mental health struggles. I was missing my family very, very much. And thank goodness my dad was in Taiwan. So I would go see my dad, and my dad's ex-girlfriend is a Buddhist nun. She's also one of the top lawyers in Taiwan. Hi, Vivian. But she's a Buddhist nun, and she really mentored me and really allowed me to get back in touch with my Buddhist roots, because my ancestors were Buddhist. Like I was raised Christian, but my heritage is very strongly Buddhist, and she's the one who taught me about reincarnation. And it was very healing for her to tell me, like, this life of ours is one sentence in an unending novel. So it's a profound thing, but it's also just a tiny fraction of this endless palace that is your life. That is your lives. I also just, I think we've all had this where you meet somebody and you're like, I know you from another life. Like me and my dog. No, me and it's just you look in someone's eyes and you're just like, and our souls know each other, and it was this reincarnation was a very literal interpretation of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, I'm not gonna say it on TikTok, but the Steam times as the theme, like how important was it?
So, Goodreads audience, Goodreads, there's people who are like, there are some people who are like, oh, it's so sexual. Oh my gosh. For me, okay, so growing up as a queer Asian man in the West, I always felt like I was not allowed to own my sexuality. So when I wrote this book, I wanted it to be unapologetically sexual, and I wanted it to be of the queer experience. It's not every queer experience, but it is a very predominant part that that queer men are often very sexually positive, right? Sex positive. And I wanted to really reflect that, They say write what you know, and I know spicy Asian men. So, so I wrote.
I love that. Oh my god. Actually, let's go going on with that. Some of the experiences that happen in the book, especially the present day timeline, are they ones that you relate to?
So when I moved to China, when I was in China, during the day, I was at a pretty corporate. It was fun. We were discovering. That's where I learned about Foxpear. We were really trying to discover what would be our next animated film, like what aspects of Asian culture we could bring to a global stage, etc. But at night, what I really discovered were the queer underworlds of Asia, and just seeing first of all, let me backtrack a little bit. When I first started writing this book, and I told people I wanted to write a love story between Asian men, I was told often, like, "Oh, this is so niche." But like, I was always like, I think there are more queer Asian folks in the world than there. Like, I think there's hundreds of millions of us. Just by definition, like, really, if 10% of people are queer LGBTQ, which is apparently it's actually a very conservative estimate, and you take into account that there's billions of us, we're actually a huge section of the, like, huge part of the world. So, so that's, what was the question? I'm sorry, that's me like ranting, but it's like, we are not niche. There's so many of us.
I don't think you relate to much of the experiences.
So yes, so I was when I would go to Thailand and just go to Songkran and just see like a sea of like queer Asian folks, you know, like every spectrum you can imagine, and it really, growing up in West Hollywood, where I was, I think we Asians run West Hollywood, but you're told that you're a minority, right? But to go and be part of the majority, like, I was both like pissed that I was like just one of many, but I was also felt so powerful, like I was part of this community that was just like so fascinating,
I haven't ever experienced that.
You have to go to Thailand during Songkran. Songkran is the water festival, where it's a giant water gun fight. Like, it's so it started with that during the Thai New Year, they used to bathe the Buddha statues to cleanse them for the next year. And then someone's just like, let's just splash each other. So it's like a giant water fight. And then you literally see like little Thai grandmas walking to the supermarket and like someone comes with the water and splashes them. It's so much fun. I don't want to give too much away, but that's just me doing this book.
Oh, yes, and is it queer? Is something?
It's like everything in Thailand. There's a queer undertone. I mean, like ladyboy culture, the existence of different genders in Asia. Asia really thinks about sexuality and gender in a way that's very different than the West, and it's very fascinating to go there. And it really influenced this book, me being in Asia for all those years. And like I saw most of Asia. Like, I almost went to every country while I was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very rewarding for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's pivot to you. Let's talk about you, not just the book. Is that okay?
Yeah.
A few questions I'll ask, and then I'm going to bring it to our audience. What are some of your favorite genres to read?
I love memoirs. I think as a writer, I just always want to craft fascinating characters, and so memoirs are really great for me to just like really, it's a human study, right? And then I love hearing, because this book it's 3 first-person narrators. That was very helpful for me. The memoir I'm listening to right now is the Britney Spears memoir. Yeah. I hate Justin Timberlake. That's me, but
reading that. Yeah.
But Michelle Williams narrates it, and if you fast forward it just a little bit, she sounds exactly like Britney. It's great. It's a good hack. It's a good hack. I love memoirs, and I don't know. I like books that knock down the fourth wall. I like books that you're just sort of like, oh, like it's sort of like there's a wink to them, Don't ask me for examples. I can't think of anyone. But those are the types I really respond to. I don't read as much as I should, because every time I pick up a book, and if it's not great, I'm like, I can do better, and I go right. And then and this is most of the time, if I pick up a book and it's spectacular, I'm like, I should be writing.
It's great.
Yeah, I get inspired. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I did lie, actually. I want to go back to the book for 1 second.
Sure.
If there were 2 people that you could cast as actors for 2 main characters,
I mean, like, I feel like there's so many beautiful Asian actors in Hollywood right now, and they're all just starting to rise.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a huge A-list star yet that I see for one of these for these, there's 3 plum
Oh, yes,
roles,
yes.
right? Without giving too much away, there's 3 male actors, like
Yes.
Asian men that you can cast for this book. I don't really know. Although I was watching the brother's son, and Justin Chen is kind of cute. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen
Yes.
the trailers.
Yes, exactly.
It looks awesome.
She knows. She knows. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
watching that later.
Yeah.
I'll watch
Yeah,
it.
for sure. He gives river vibes.
Okay, yeah, I can.
River vibes. Yeah.
If it's one.
Actually, no. Also, with a little bit of a beard, he gives Joey vibes. Too.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like, who are these people?
You'll find out soon enough.
Soon enough.
Okay, so I think with time, we can open up some questions to the audience that we have here and also on TikTok. Does anyone have any questions for Justinian?
Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I was wondering, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because you
Mm.
spoke about how you love memoirs, and I could listen to you talk all day. So I was wondering, would you ever write a memoir of your story in your life?
I would love to write a memoir about my 5 years in China because it was such an interesting. When I went to China in 2015, that was sort of like the end of the peak of what I call the China Hollywood promise. Do you remember when so much money was being poured back and forth between Hollywood and China? They were setting up studios and all those things. So I got to ride that wave, and I also got to be there when it crashed and burned. So I feel like geopolitically, that's a lot of fun to write about, and also like, it's so interesting. I thought that I wouldn't be accepted there as a queer person, and individually, the Chinese folks I met, I never felt like they discriminated against me. I felt like they all treated me like family. And, I really want to elucidate that aspect of Chinese culture, modern Chinese culture. But yeah, that's something I would love to write about for sure. And then that the fun thing about that is that major characters in that proposed memoir, would be the 3 men that inspired Endless Palace.
oh my god, I
Yeah,
want to know who
they
they
would
are.
be major. They would be major characters for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep it rolling. You told us a little bit about that gorgeous cover
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the process of it.
Right.
Would you be okay to share that with
Yes,
everyone? 'Cause I thought it was wonderful.
I feel like I got a really blessed experience because I talked to other authors and they told me that they didn't get to do this, but I was like a really big part of like communicating with with this gorgeous cover. Yes, there it is. So Yixing Zheng, you should follow him on Instagram. His Instagram is insane. When they asked me like, who do you want to design this cover? I was like, it's about gay Chinese boys. It'd be great if we had a gay Chinese boy do it. And I felt like that might be a tall order because sometimes you just sort of shout into the ether about these sorts of things. But Erin Craig that's the design director here. She and her team found Yixing Zheng. And I remember first thing, he's from the Sichuan province. He looks very young. He doesn't, this is his first book cover. And I think he just knocked it out of the park.
Gorgeous.
They said, give us 3 keywords. And my keywords were lush, psychedelic, and romantic. And I think that he really nailed it. My favorite thing about the book cover, though, is that it is full of Easter eggs. As you read the book, just keep looking at the book cover and it will
That's what
make
I was
more and more sense. Yeah, definitely. What's up?
Would make good ink.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, someone should tat it on them.
So I'm just-
Let's grab a drink afterwards. I would love to see that.
Who's sponsored?
We can split it.
Free advertising. Anyone else have any questions? Yeah. What's that?
So I love this book, and I found that like your writing is so like.
So you read it already?
Yes.
Oh.
You actually reposted my review a couple days ago.
Oh, really? That's so cool. That means it was a 5-star. I only read 5 stars.
Yes, it was
Thank you
fantastic.
so much. Thank
And
you.
like I found that I could like live in your writing forever. Like you have
Oh my
such a
gosh.
fantastic way of telling stories. And so I was wondering, do you have like a favorite word that you like that you just
A favorite word? Wow. Oh gosh. That's so hard. I love words. I love the English language, you know, like I was an English major, so I just love all words. That's so hard. Let me think. Oh, I love endless. I love the word endless. It's so promising and it's the palace was actually called the Endless Palace that the emperor lived in. Wei Yanggong literally means has not reached the center yet. Will never reach the center. It's endless. Endless. I just love that word. Yeah. And it's pretty. And it's one of those words that sounds like what it means. You know? Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions off the chat?
We do. We
Any
have
questions? Oh, sorry.
one question. What was your favorite book growing up?
I had so many. Jeez. But if I had to choose, God, what's one book I read all the time? Okay, I loved Ramona and Beezus. Yes,
Yeah.
I loved that book. Me and I have a sister that I love very, very much, and like they're dynamic because we would fight. I read that book. I will never forget. Like, and I don't know if you know this book, but there's this thing where Ramona just wants to take the first bite of an apple, and she like there's like a pile of apples. I did that for years. I was like, the first bite tastes the best. I love that book so much. I read that book over, and then The Mouse and His Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Loved that book. Oh my gosh, love that book. Is that by the same author? No, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Are they North American? Because I have no
They're
idea.
North American. They're North American.
Okay, not Australian. Okay. Good question.
Yeah, we can take one. These are from YouTube. So when they
Okay.
signed up, they were able to submit some questions.
Cool.
So one of them is, do you think you had a great love in one of your past lives?
Yes, absolutely.
Now the swagger.
I absolutely. I think we all have. I think that the opening sentences of this book are, "What if I told you that the feeling we call love is the metaphysical recognition of someone that you knew in a previous life? How would that change the way? How would that change the way you look at each stranger, knowing that they can be the epic romance across all of your lifetimes?" We've all had that feeling.
Such a good opening.
Yes. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's like literally like you're like on two trains or something. You're like, wait. I think we've had many lifetimes, and that's why we experience that. I think that these two boys are special in this book because they can't get rid of each other. They're just always together. But I think that we all have. I believe in reincarnation for sure. I really, really do. I think that it applies. It doesn't need to necessarily be a Buddhist thing. I think it applies to many, like even if you read the Bible, it feels like it refers to that sort of thing. So yeah.
I don't have a question over there. Just go and say.
Okay, this is Johnny's partner that's asking the question.
You talked a little bit about casting this, and you
Yeah.
worked in the film industry for a long time. Are you already thinking about an adaptation, or how you would do that, or are you just enjoying the book experience?
I'm enjoying the book
Yeah, I bet.
experience. I love this new world. The film industry is very specific and it's tough, and I'm like it's just been so lovely being in the vibe of the book world. I don't think there's a perfect community anywhere, but I love the nerdiness of this community. I'm a big nerd, and I just feel like this is my people, and I'm just really loving it. That said, I think that there's some agent somewhere working very hard. Thank you, Orly. On that. So yeah, but that would be really cool.
I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we're all nerds.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Proudly.
I was gonna say.
I was saying.
You're here.
I was saying to John, they're spicy nerds. I was saying to Johnny that my best friend in high school, because I was kind of bullied and stuff, but my best friend in high school was the school librarian. I've always been, and my favorite smell is when you walk into a bookstore and you just smell the ink and so good. Yeah, and then the ASMR sound of turning pages. I just love it. Yeah, I know. Let's do some ASMR.
Can you do it?
How do we do this? Yeah, look at that. Oh, do it.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Do you have any more questions at all? Maybe one more, and then I'll do a little game.
Sure, let's do one more.
Yeah.
Which character was the most challenging?
So the most challenging were this real life emperor and his lover, because for years because I wanted to write this book for years and I just thought about it for years, and they just felt so unapproachable for a long time, because they're real life people, and there's actually not a lot known about them. There's a very famous story which y'all should Google called Passion of the Cut Sleeve, which refers and it appears in this book. I pay homage to it, but other than that, there's not a lot about them known. You weren't really allowed to write too realistically about the emperor during their lifetime because they were a god. But it wasn't until I had this revelation of just being like, I was like, just treat them like gay boys. Just treat them like two gay boys stupidly in love with each other, and then they became very easy to write. Yeah. So, but it took many years. I think that for a lot of people who want to write their first book, you're just held back by fear. It's scary, It's really, really scary, and it takes a lot of delusion. It takes a lot of delusion, man. Yeah. I'm sorry.
This book is really good.
Thank you.
So you do we play a game or not? Sure. No, why not? Okay. I was thinking it would be fun.
Does everyone watch Real Housewives? Whenever they say let's play a game, it gets really messy.
Okay, I was thinking we would do it. Smash and pass.
Oh my gosh.
The idea is these are PG rated.
Oh.
So no. Let's give it a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I will name a topic, and then we will say things in that topic. This is how PG it is.
Oh, okay.
Book genres: horror, smash or pass.
Smash. There's a lot of horror in this book.
Okay.
There's a lot of horror elements.
Contemporary romance.
Smash. Literally.
Sci-fi.
Smash. I eventually if all things go well, this is actually supposed to be the first of the trilogy. It's but there's no promises, right?
Okay.
But I do want to explore sci-fi. There's a lot of genres in here. Sci-fi is not one of them. But I want to explore sci-fi.
Okay. Anyone else have any genres that you want to ask if it's a smash or pass? Thriller.
I mean, this is a thriller. I describe it as a romantic thriller. Give me all the thrills, someone asked me the other day, romances, people want them to be soothing, and I was like, oh shoot.
Soothing is not. I didn't realize I had to soothe people.
This is not a crazy thing.
I want to thrill. I want to titillate. I want to captivate. I want to take you on the roller coaster ride of your life.
Yeah.
I want you gasping.
I was gasping.
I want you gasping.
I was gasping right now. Okay, let's go with tropes. The one bed trope.
The what?
The one bed trope.
What's the one bed?
When there's only one bed. Like the two characters. So there's two characters, usually they shouldn't be either enemies or lovers or whatever, but there's only one bed.
I like thinking that's how most of my toys. I'm into it. That's so realistic.
That's a smash. Yeah. That love seat is too small.
Let's share the bed.
Fake dating.
What?
Fake dating.
So you're like, oh, let's pretend you're my.
Yeah. So in contemporary romance, there's a lot of fake dating. So they're like, oh, we don't like each other, but let's do this for show.
I have to pass something. I'll pass on that.
That's us. That's
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of movies about that 10 years ago. However, that's the beauty of what we do, right? If you can find a fresh way in, That's always so impressive, especially if it's like, oh, this trope is so tried, but
Yeah.
then you make it true again. It's great.
I didn't think I liked the game, but I've read a few books and
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a convert.
I think it's all about the
That's
characters. I think it's about how well you craft your characters.
And
Like,
the
you don't
order.
care what they do.
Yeah,
They can
exactly.
fake dating, real dating. You like them, they're the audience.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another trope. I think of tropes.
Hmm.
Another one?
Forced proximity.
False proximity.
So you mean like the elevator he was talking about? I like that. I'm into that. Yeah, I love that. That's really cool. I have this idea of a murder mystery on a cruise that's very forced proximity. So I have to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any tropes that we want to ask? Yeah.
Grumpy sunshine.
Grumpy sunshine.
What is that? Can you tell I'm like very new to this world?
It's like me and my partner. I'm the sunshine. No, so usually it's like someone's like, he's the grumpy person,
Right.
but then someone's like, I love life, and then
They
it's kind of almost opposites attract,
opposites
kind
attract.
of similar-ish.
I feel like that's a lot. I think that's so real though, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm kind of grumpy. I like other grumpy people. Though.
Well, how about your past? Can we ask your past loves? Who was the grumpy? Who was the sunshine?
I mean,
That's your personal.
I think that I tend to go for broody guys. Yeah, I like them. I like them sullen. I like them really handsome and sullen. Like that's my side. Yeah. I like a sad boy. I love a sad boy. Love a sad boy.
Let's get to another one. Male actors.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Sure.
Okay.
Someone's gonna say Jacob Elordi, right?
Jacob Elordi.
I don't know. He's kind of tall. I'm like, oh yeah, like I get to say this. He's kind of tall for me. I thought